Hello, welcome to Flow Rugby's The Miss Pass episode. Who knows?
We don't know.
Maybe 19,
I always lose track.
maybe 18,
35.
maybe 30. Probably not that many.
Yeah.
But
Probably because we don't have enough fingers.
well, yeah, it's true. It's true. Episode something. We think it's 19. What a week!
Crazy.
What a week!
Insane.
Lots to talk about. I'm here with Alex Goff, and of course, in the corner, as always, we have Mr. Michael Kramer, sporting a very, very lovely bit of stash there, Michael.
Can you see it?
Shirt. Cool shirt.
Who's
What's
that?
that?
What team's that?
The Austin Rugby Club, the Austin Blacks, 50th anniversary Canterbury Polo.
Nice.
Very nice.
He's one of these,
Little
like,
shout
one of those players who plays one game for a club and buys all the stash. But no, it is. I was so close to wearing the same thing today as well, and that would have been brilliant. And then
I'd have to go out and get one.
I thought I don't want to be biased towards one club. You know, it's too blatant. But Michael doesn't care, which is quite right.
He's
I
allowed
think.
to have
Throw it
Right,
out.
right. We also have two special guests today in the studio.
Nice.
One who we'll be talking to in a little while, and one who
Doesn't
you
listen.
may or may not hear throughout the show or see creeping around the studio, which is our little mascot dog, our little Atlas. So if you hear a barking, don't worry.
He's looking to go into production right now.
He may hopefully not chew through any of the wires.
Yeah.
Although if he chews through your microphone, it's not too bad.
It's
I might get
totally
wood.
fine. Totes fine.
Anyway, was this the biggest and best weekend for rugby in the US ever?
Yeah, completely. I mean, what's funny is that last year around this time, USA won the ARC and came third in Vegas, and it was like, whoa, that's pretty great. But they won it, and they tied a game to win it. And this time, they blew out a team we were really worried about, and then just crushed everyone in Vegas. I mean, crushed everyone, except for England. They didn't crush England, but they did beat them. Everyone else
to
they
be
crushed.
fair, they outclassed England. Absolutely outclassed England. England looked like they would maybe sneak it through just power, but I mean, what scares me as an Englishman is you look at that Sevens team, and the fact Colin Isles can't get on the pitch most of the time.
Yeah.
But like you look at that team and you just see not just speed in like Perry Baker and Isles, you see strength. I mean, Danny Barrett was absolutely immense. Like that guy is one of the strongest guys on the circuit and one of the best runners. And
we had him on the show over Christmas, and he was great. He was talking about saying, if you come to tackle me, you're going to get a shoulder, an elbow, a hip, or a knee every single time. And his coaching from Golden Gate and Cal and everything, he's been coached that perfect power step. I don't think anybody does it better.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to tackle him if he's not paying attention, but if he pays attention, he delivers it.
Yeah.
One of the announcers in Vegas was calling him Boom Boom. Boom Boom's coming down.
He is.
And for good reason.
And then you bring in Ben Pinkelman, who was playing at a major level when he was still a teenager. He's like 19 playing Denver Barbarians out of Colorado State. But he has just put on a ton of strength. And they made him captain. I think that's made him a better player. Hey, let's just go now. You know, right?
He's just sniffing around.
He's right. But I think he's better as a leader. Actually, he's a better player as a leader.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and the Dream Team came out, and I think how many players were from the US?
Three.
Yeah, which it could have just been the US team. Really.
It really could have. Pinkelman went on social media and said Falaniua should have been on it.
Yep.
And he said, what does the guy have to do? And
Yeah.
I talked to Madison Hughes earlier this year about it, and he just said nobody knows how strong he is. Nobody takes into account his defense. Everyone just says, oh, he just kicks. But he kicks great. And, even like talking to Zach Test over the weekend about revolutionizing the game and winning restarts. And he said, well, Falaniua hits it on a dime every single time. That's why they win restarts.
I think once you get like 3 players in a team, like a Dream Team, it's hard to get. It then becomes harder, right? Everyone to get in. So we've got some clips we're gonna look at. Maybe we should have a quick look at those because I mean Perry Baker, he was voted best player on the circuit last year.
Yeah.
World Player of the Year.
Yeah, here
But
they are.
I mean he just proved it this time, right?
Well, we haven't. Yeah, this is great because he has so much pride in his defense. No one could catch this guy except for Perry Baker.
I love that. Yeah, he's going 36 kilometers an hour. the other guy, the Fijian, and then Perry goes 37 and catches him.
And catches it.
This was against England. I saw this live, and you could just see it. Like, do not give him the outside. Do not give him the outside. All right, give him the outside, and goodbye.
It's just a little shoulder dip, just a tiny. He doesn't have to put on a major move. He just, if you do a little shoulder dip, he's like, you have to respect
well, you train to show people the outside, uses the touchline as a defender, but you can't do that against Baker.
This is wild.
I mean, this has to be the best try ever in sevens, I think.
Oh, no.
I mean, he's on his own try.
Watch it, he sits him down. He's like, make him fall over. And he still has so much work to do.
I mean, he's not even crossed his halfway line there. But here's the most impressive thing for me about that. Like, if that was against Spain or Ireland or like Wales or anyone that's kind of an average sevens team, you'd be like, oh, that was an awesome try, but it's, it's Spain, whatever.
Right.
I was against Fiji.
Yeah, it's against 4 Fijian guys, and he outmaneuvers them and outpaces them.
So it's the Olympic gold medalists who walked to the gold medal. Yeah. And those guys are so fast, so strong, and he just goes around every single one of them from his own try line to theirs. And
the game, right now, at that point they were losing. I think they were 7-0.
Yeah, so they were 7-0 down. There was 2.5 minutes left.
And they're stuck on their own try line.
Yeah.
And he just completely flips the game around with that insane move. Like 4 insane
at this
moves.
point, you were at the stadium cheering. Oh no, you were.
Oh, at that point, I was still at the stadium.
Oh, you were? You saw
that
game?
I did see that one. What did I? No, that was
that was the semis.
That was the semis. No,
so you would have been stuck in a Frontier Airlines.
I was stuck at the gate in the airport.
Or line, as Americans would call it.
I was online. Maybe I was in line, but I was not
on a
in
plane.
person. I wasn't on a plane. I wasn't in the stadium. I wasn't doing anything fun except stuck in an airport. Frontier Airlines. I'm looking at you.
But they replied to your message I saw on Twitter.
They did. I didn't see.
What did they say?
They were very apologetic.
Of course they were apologetic.
I love it when like.
Did they send me anything? I didn't. I actually haven't seen. I didn't look for a reply.
You might get another $10 coupon, which you can go and spend for 2 bottles of water in the airport.
That's good.
Anyway, okay, so sevens was huge. Dan Payne is leaving. I want to talk about that as well. Maybe we'll pick that up at the end of the show. Sure. But ARC, 15s, Grand Slam, if there was a Grand Slam in the ARC.
There is now.
And the first time they've done it.
A week ago, we were talking about this. And we were saying, I was Uruguay, scared of Uruguay.
You were saying how good Uruguay is.
Yeah.
Boom.
61-19.
Goodbye. 40-0 at halftime.
Jeez.
So should we call him now?
Yeah. So we got Mike Teo's going to join us.
I'm going to call him. Right.
So he got 2 tries at the weekend, I think, which is 60 points, I suppose, is expected. But he's been immense throughout. Let's see if we can get hold of him.
It's ringing now, so we're gonna
see if he's not still partying. He might be hungover still.
Well, they had to fly back from Uruguay.
Hello?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so Mike Teo, you're actually on the show right now, so that's all cool. Alex Goff here, Adam Armstrong's here, Michael Kramer's here.
How's it going, Mike?
Oh, nice. It's good. How are you guys?
We're doing well. We were just saying, are you guys still like hungover and you awake now or been partying since the victory?
I got over it on the 9-hour flight to Miami, which is probably the roughest flight I've ever had.
Oh, really? Scary.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about last week that everyone was a little bit worried about Uruguay and how they'd won a whole bunch of games in a row. They were just playing really, really well. They're very, very physical, and it's tough to play in Montevideo. And you guys go out and it's 40-0 at halftime. How did that happen?
Yeah, Uruguay, just coming off their World Cup wins, World Cup qualifying wins against Canada, they had all the momentum. And if they were the team they were a team to come bring it to Team USA because we were top of the pool, and everyone wants to take out the guy on top. Yeah. So we thought they were going to bring it. So starting from Monday, from training after Brazil, we were just training like it was a championship. Every training was a championship training. And, it just worked out for us, 40-0 at halftime.
Well, you had a lot to do with that.
Definitely a team effort. I got one lucky early try-in, which was a good momentum booster. And then, just from there, our game plan worked.
I don't know if that was so lucky. I mean, you're just like slicing these guys up. I mean, how much? I mean, you do this whole, you do the jump step, you do the sevens thing, the jump step, side step, and stuff like that. It doesn't seem like you really care that you have no space. You seem to manage to create it. What goes on in your mind when you're doing that?
Well, going into the game, I always tell myself, like, at least beat one guy when I get the ball. And then if I do that, then hopefully that's a gain line. So every time I get the ball, I just try to beat one guy. And, yeah, and it just happens, I guess.
Is jump step is that a thing?
It's a thing.
Do you know?
It's that
You
whole
mean goose
berserker-
step?
No, not. I mean, he just sort of jumps up in the air and then he just comes
Is
in.
this a Mike Teo special? The
I
jump
think
step.
it is. I think it is a Mike.
Did you
Teo
invent that,
special.
Mike?
It's kind of, I don't know. I was blessed with a little bit of acceleration. Get that from
There it is.
my genes, and I just use it to my advantage, I guess. Try to beat the guy. I don't know.
So you've got new Gary Gold, new coach this year, obviously. Like, tell us a bit about how's that. He came in quite late before this. How's that been received? And obviously you guys are on hitting great form. But what's changed and what's he brought to the team?
From day one, right when we met Gary, we had a camp. So it was 2 weeks before or a week before Argentina. He brought us in and then told us his mindset going into like a new rugby team, Team USA for a 15th team. And he told us, he was like, high work rate, low error rate. That's pretty much what we're looking for. And then I took that in my head and I was like, all right, every training, high work rate, low error rate. And yeah, he gave us a good game plan, and just from there, we all bonded. He's a great guy, talks to us, and like gets involved with us, asks about family. He's just a really, really great guy, down to earth. And we all just bought on, and yeah, and just won all 5 games.
Wow, it's smart for a coach really to just sort of make his effort to bring everybody together. It's not just on you, but the error rate that jumps out at me, because so many times covering this team, you say, well, they could have scored a try here, or they have so many weapons, and then it's a drop. Lost ball in contact has to be a big part of the error rate, and you just didn't have that same issue. I think we go back to the sevens as well. The same deal is like, you guys, you catch the ball first, and then you protect the ball first, and then you deal out the punishment. But you can't deal out punishment if you don't have the ball.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Just like
That's not a question.
objective
just
is
an Alex
score
Goff
more
statement.
points. You can't score without the ball.
You should learn to ask the poor man
Words
the
of
question.
wisdom.
Yeah.
We might want to tell that to Gary Gold and the rest of the
Yeah,
team.
I think
Mike.
so.
If you want to bring Alex Goff in for some inspirational
Sure.
speaking before
Absolutely.
games,
I just do that in the pages. Right, I'm sure you guys read everything that I write and then take it to heart. I mean, that's the way you should be doing it. It's like, you played a lot of
Automatic.
positions. Yeah, automatic. You've played a lot of positions for the Eagles, even scrum half. Do you change how you approach it depending on whether it's wing or fullback, or they throw you in somewhere else?
I kind of have one thing I learned is I have a sevens mentality. So sevens, it's all about personality, and then 15s, it's about character. So when I play rugby, I just try to bring my personality out. And then once I brought it into 15s, it's just, hey, play rugby, play what's in front of you. There's always a game plan, but once there's an opportunity to do something, back yourself and do it. So I don't whenever I played scrum half, I just get to the ruck, pass the ball, and then if you have an opportunity to do something great, go for it and don't be afraid of it. So I have that mindset when I play every position. So, yeah.
do you have a favorite position? If coach just came to you and said, all right, where do you want to play today? I'll play wherever you want. Where would that be?
Favorite position, I'd have to say fullback.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy rugby. I enjoy playing anywhere.
Well, the first article I ever wrote about you when you were in high school, you were playing hooker.
Yeah, I played hooker for under 20s,
Yeah.
and we ended up winning the Junior World Trophy that year. So
That's right, with Madison Hughes. Will McGee was on that team.
yeah, Will McGee,
Yeah.
and Will McGee, Madison Hughes.
That's
All around. That was a great tournament. Happened. And then a couple months later, I was on the sevens team. So
That's amazing.
funny how it worked out.
Did you wish you were on the sevens team as well at the weekend? Or if it was different weekends, it must have been a bit of a party for those guys after a great victory in Vegas.
Oh man, I was up to 2 a.m. cheering on the boys I was down in Uruguay, just watching live rugby on the TV. Me and some of the boys were like day before the game, but still watching it till 2 a.m. I just love sevens, and I was so happy when the boys took it, especially a home victory. It's like unheard of, and yeah, definitely wish I was a part of it.
You don't feel like that upstaged what you guys accomplished, because what you guys accomplished was actually really impressive.
Oh, winning back-to-back ARCs and moving up 2 rankings for in the world, like they're both like hats off performances, and I don't really know if one overshadows the other, but a home victory in sevens is something so rare, and yeah, I'm just proud to be on the team.
So you've got a game against Scotland coming up in Houston in June. I think June the 9th, I think, is it? 9th? No, it's the second one, 16. Like Scotland unfortunately just beat England from my boy, but you know, Scotland are a world-class team now. I think they're 5th in the world rankings. Like, how are you guys thinking about that? You really, you know, you're excited those guys coming over, really top quality side. What have you been watching much of them, seeing how they play?
Well, actually, we're all just like going back, and at the moment, like we should be starting to think about it, but like we're all going back to our clubs, and then once it's time to start like zeroing in on our opponents, and once camp will start up for a June test, and we'll like start getting into the thick of things, focusing on Scotland and what they do. I remember they came to USA and played us. I think it was in Texas. I wasn't on the team, but I was there to watch it, and we put up a good fight. I think it was only a couple of tries they beat us by.
Yep.
So,
well, it's your opposite number will be Stuart Hogg, British and Irish Lion, one of the best, if not the best, fullback in the world. So that must be exciting going up against him.
Yeah, if I get the opportunity to play against him, I'll definitely make it memorable.
Maybe get one of your jump steps in and go past him.
I definitely watch his film and watch his highlights. So
spin him around a little bit. Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's well, how was the celebration after you won down in Montevideo? I know you had the big long flight home, but did you guys get to celebrate it a little bit?
Oh yeah, we fly out to the Sunday evening.
Good.
So, as any international rugby team when they win a competition, we ended up having a good night the first night, and then we had a pool party like at our hotel, just us boys playing music. I was on DJ for a bit. Coaches came out with a guitar and a tambourine. Terry Gold on the tambourine. That was class. Yeah,
that was class.
Tambourine.
I love that. What's the go-to song? What are you going to play? Get everybody going.
I don't play the tambourine. I don't play the guitar.
Well, you're in the DJ. What do you play? What do you pick?
Oh, I play the country for the country boys, and then I played island music for the island boys. So we had a good balance. I know how to please a crowd.
Well, that's for sure. I don't know. I mean, maybe we can debate MVPs of this tournament. I think, Mike, you're up there for sure. We really enjoy watching you play, and you may have said a lucky try. You scored 2 of them, and helped take Uruguay apart. So we're pretty. I think as USA fans, we're pretty proud of that, aren't we?
Yeah. Very.
Yeah,
definitely.
Thank you guys. Yeah, it was definitely a long 5 weeks, but just to end up with a trophy and a smile on our face at the end of it, that's pretty much what it's about. That's why we play the sport.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for the call.
Cheers, Mike.
All right, cheers, guys. Bye.
All right. I don't know, MVP. I mean, now that he's not here, so you don't have to say, oh, it's Mike Teo all the way. What do you think, Kramer? Any MVP thoughts on ARC?
I don't know. He's got to be up there.
Yeah. There was another player who made sure that they won every game.
That's true. That is true.
In the last minute, Big Hanko.
Hanko, yeah.
So I mean, without the hand of Hanko, that would have been it wouldn't have been a grand slam. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's funny because the last game, who was it? Brazil, the last game before Uruguay.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people saying, they didn't play that well,
and
the game at Houston was better, and they showed a bit of skills and stuff. It's funny what a difference a week makes, isn't it? Everyone's singing praises, and got a new coach. It's gonna go up and down, you know, and some games are gonna, you know, you're gonna have a really good performance, and some games you're gonna grind out a win, and that's okay. But win's a win, and you know, everyone's smiling now.
Excellent. We can take these off, I think, but
I quite like them.
you like them? I hear you better here rather than just across the table. It's funny how coaches are, and we've had coaches for the Eagles who are don't quite say play not to lose, but the players get the message, right? Don't try anything risky and stuff. And here it seems like Gary Gold has said, you have the ability. Go ahead and do it. Just, you know, don't lose the ball. Don't commit a penalty. But if you wanna put a move on someone, if we wanna move the ball and make a few passes, go ahead. And the players like it. They're enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, I think Mike Friday's very similar, isn't he?
Yeah.
From what I've seen. I mean, he actually was a coach of mine at Blackheath Rugby Club in London.
Historic Blackheath,
yeah. Oldest rugby club, or one of the oldest rugby clubs in the world. First ever international game played at Blackheath. It was like Scotland, England, or someone, or Scotland.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but so I know a bit about how he coaches 15s, not so much about sevens, but I saw there was HSBC have done a video. It's in the trail of, which is about the sevens team. Mike's talking a lot in it, but he's very much about like you're creating, you know, good men, good people, and then giving them the confidence, getting their attitude right to go out there and express themselves. And I think that's the thing is like when you've got such talented athletes like the US do have. Once you teach them the game, which is going to happen, right, and it's slowly starting to happen, and you know, getting higher and higher people playing from younger ages and stuff. Just tell them to go out there and just have fun and like kind of, you know, minimize the errors, but just express themselves. And you find people like Perry Baker, and it's scary when he expresses himself.
And fans like to see that. I mean, it's been years. Fans keep saying, you know, that they want to see the players have fun and enjoy what they're doing. And if they're enjoying the way they play and having a great time, it's like fans get behind it, and they get behind them, then they're going to do more of that.
You saw it multiple times, Perry going to the crowd and raising his hands, getting them amped up. When he made that tackle on the Fijian, when he chased him down, he turned straight to the crowd and was like, let's go, like we're doing this, you know? And that's great to see too.
It's interesting, the biggest times you saw him pump up the crowd was that tackle, and then when we were looking at it earlier today, he beat 4 guys on the Argentinian team. He beat and then dished it to Barrett, and Barrett scored.
Yeah.
So it's those. I mean, when he runs the length of the field, he touches down, and he's like, "Yeah, that's great," but it's.
Yeah, but you know why that is? Because he's knackered.
I don't know. Is he? Is he?
Well, he ran 100.
He should be. I would be.
To be fair, he never actually looks tired. But that when he ran 127 meters and beat the whole Fijian side, I imagine he probably needs to just get his breath a little bit rather than start going whooping and stuff. But when he gives it to Barrett, you know, halfway down the pitch, he can stop and kind of give a bit of a whoop.
I thought it was cool. I think it was on Twitter. Pinkelman put a tweet out and said, "Perry, thanks for letting me stand on the 10-meter line, knowing you're gonna finish."
It's the old thing with sevens, like somebody's on the breakaway, we want to get everybody in on the inside the 22 when he touches down, and referees get penalized if they're not inside the 22 and to call the try. And you ever hear that? Like referees just do kangaroo court stuff like that.
Oh, no, I haven't heard.
Yeah,
this.
like
referees do kangaroo court.
Right. Oh, big time. That's why they become referees. And it's like the ref is not inside the 22 to call the try when it's scored in a sevens game. And it's like they have to buy everyone a beer.
Wow.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall on that one.
Draconian.
Can we please go to one of those kangaroo courts? That would be.
I inadvertently ended up next to one in Los Angeles one time. It was very disturbing.
All right. Well, maybe for another day.
Seems like you get yourself into situations that are disturbing quite often.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got yourself into a situation in a closet with Dan Payne at the weekend as well.
I do.
And we're just chatting to him about his decision to not renew his contract, essentially, isn't it? Right.
Pretty much. I mean, he's got to say, I'd like to come back, and they would have. I don't think there'd be any doubt that he would have come back.
Yeah. And
been allowed to come back. But the number one thing, and he downplayed it a little bit in the interview, but the travel is crazy for that job.
I think it was 200 days.
200 days.
He traveled last year.
Yeah.
120,000 miles, I think he said, right?
Massive amount of miles, and he's got a young family. And at some point, you just make that choice. So I think that's the choice. If somebody says he's leaving because everything's falling apart at USA Rugby, even if it were falling apart, that's not the reason.
But and how can you say it's falling apart after this weekend? You know, he said last year he was proud because of the way that the four teams, the four, you know, 7s, 15s, men's, women team performed. But then, you know, this weekend you just go, I mean, they may well and have got a very good chance of going to win in San Francisco in the 7s. You know, if the 15s do well in June, you know, he's going to leave in a pretty good spot from a rugby perspective currently. But, you know, he talked a lot in that interview about stuff. And I think one of the things that I liked about his strategy, which he said is a kind of a little bit of a, not a regret, but a disappointment they couldn't make it, was really establishing youth rugby. And because that seems to me, that's what the answer is. You've got to get kids playing rugby really early. And then you can get, you know, crossover athletes and stuff coming later, but you really got to get kids playing rugby early. Yeah. And he hasn't had the resources to do that. Like, he's put in a few regional development officers, but it's.
I mean, in fact, one of the things that he had advisors telling him, you know, how to get out of the financial hole. And they said, you haven't raised dues on high school players in many, many years, so they raised dues on high school players, and that helped get them out of that. I think it was the right move, but it goes sort of against the whole desire to build the youth. You know, that's got to be. I don't know. I don't even know if hiring youth development officers is the way to go. I think I'm not even sure exactly what it is, other than making it easier to form clubs and play games.
Well, it's getting like there's, I don't know what Stevie Swindle's. Shout out to Stevie from Austin Blacks, but I don't know what his title is. It's he's essentially the Texas development officer for rugby, right? And so and I've seen a lot of what he's doing is going into schools, going into, you know, communities where they don't even know what rugby ball is, and introducing it to them and playing stupid games and stuff. But that's the beginning, right? It's like they've got to understand, they've got to know what rugby is, awareness, and then they might, oh, that's pretty cool, and then obviously then it's about getting the schools to play it on a more regular basis. Yeah. But just getting a rugby ball in the hands to start with is you know, you got to start somewhere, I suppose.
No, you do.
Instead of a baseball or a basketball or anything like that.
I started a girls program, and it started from doing one session with 8 Girl Scouts. And one of those Girl Scouts, she didn't come out to the team because she was too young, but she had her older sister did. And then that was the first. Bernadette was the first member of a team that ended up being pretty successful. So you're right. I mean, that is the way to go, I guess. Right? Just say, this is a rugby ball. This is what it is. It's not scary. It's actually super fun. Yeah. And then, but then the next step is the parents come up and say, this is great. Where can my kid play?
Right.
How old is your kid? 9. You know, that's the problem. Right there.
Nowhere yet.
Not sure.
But I was thinking as well, like, isn't rugby compared to football, which we compare all the time, it must be a lot cheaper for parents because there's less equipment. You just need a gum shield or a mouth guard, as we call them over here, and some boots or some cleats.
Right, cleats. And even then, for younger kids, you can get away with just some runner shoes,
some kicks,
sneakers, runners, trainers.
But you don't need all the other stuff, which I think is, you know, which is great. So, you know, I think there's, you know, that's one of the things that is going to help rugby moving forward, and get more people to pick it up. Plus you don't get any head injuries in rugby compared to football. So they say.
It's a lot harder to do that.
But there's plenty of head injuries.
I think we're sad to see Dan Payne go. I think we're pretty excited. People liked having him there, and I thought he engaged people really well.
He's a good guy. He's been at the grassroots. He's been at the top level of rugby. You know, he's got a good vision. You know, he's personable, and you know, he I think part of the travel, it seems like he actually did go to a lot of places that he probably didn't have to go to. You know, he came to Austin to the Austin Blacks 50th anniversary. He didn't have to do that. No one would have said anything if he hadn't really. But he turned up, and he was a big part of the night. He didn't disappear straight away. You know, he had a few drinks, or quite a few drinks, and didn't even like you were there. He was enjoying himself, you know, which is great. But you know, he spent a lot of time in an airplane. In fact, one thing I texted him a couple of weeks ago because when he was over here, he was telling us about he'd been watching Ray Donovan. Have you seen Ray Donovan?
I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's like 5 seasons,
Yeah.
and he was like, "This is so good. You got to see Ray Donovan." And so anyway, me and the missus have basically watched every one of them now, and it's brilliant. But that just shows he was like he just binged it on every flight, you know. So he's probably seen everything on Netflix. So maybe now he'll miss out on his TV a little bit. But
yeah, that's tough too.
My favorite part of the interview was the very end when you're like, okay, we're done, and then you're like, oh, one more question. What is more likely to happen? Ombak wins the PRP or Life wins the D1A? And he had no answer. He said, my daughter is going to be cute.
Yes, my daughters are going to be really cute. That was the only thing he'd say. Because he, yeah, put him on the spot because there's no way he's going to say one over the other. But really, that's partly because, you know, Life in St. Mary's. I don't know, people are loving St. Mary's right now. So maybe he was just having a hard time thinking that Life could do it, and he didn't want to say Ombak. That's what I think.
Well, we'll
That's what
see.
I would say.
All right. Well, we can talk more about that next week.
Yeah.
Because St. Mary's had a great performance this week against UC Davis as well. Check out the Dan Payne interview on Flow Rugby, and join us again next week. We'll continue the conversation. Cheers.